Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. We're going to get started in just a few minutes. Wanted to just say hi and welcome everyone. If you want, feel free to drop a message in the chat to let us know where you're calling in from and the name of your business so we can get to know each other. We're super excited to be introducing EZFacility's new user interface to you today and have a bunch of exciting new updates to share with you. So we're eager to get started here. Just want to make sure everybody's got a chance to log on. So like I said, feel free to shoot us a message, tell us how you're doing today, where you're located. I myself am located outside of Philadelphia, so we're having a nice cool fall day today. Also, if everyone wants to make sure that they can see and hear me okay, as well as see the slide on the screen with the title of our webinar, we'd appreciate that. Awesome, got someone from Delaware. You're not too far from me, Delaware State Fair, Harrington, Delaware. Awesome, thanks for joining us. Do we have anyone located in the UK today? If so, thank you for joining us during your evening. We appreciate that. Like I said, we're really excited to show you the new user interface today. Thank you to everyone who's joining us now. If you're just hopping on, feel free to drop a message in the chat to tell us the name of your business and where you're located today so we can get to know each other. My name is Miranda. I'm the marketing manager here at EZ. I'm located outside of Philadelphia myself. Most of the EZ team, though, is located in New York. We've got someone from London, England. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Someone from Charlottesville, Virginia. Excellent. Okay, I see a lot more people joining us now, so we're going to give it a couple extra minutes just to make sure everyone has a chance to log on, because we're going to be sharing some really exciting updates about the new user interface and want to make sure everyone has a chance to hop on before we get started. Apollo Gym in England, welcome. Thanks for joining us. If you're just logging on, feel free to drop a message in the chat with your location and your business name. It's great to see people from all different parts of the US and all over the world. Got someone joining from Ontario, Canada as well. Prairie Grove, Arkansas. Excellent. Welcome, everyone. Gonna give it just a few more minutes, maybe just another minute or so before we get started. Still a few people trickling in. Bristol, UK, not Indiana. Okay. Yes, thank you for joining us. Got several people from the UK. Thanks for joining us in your early evening here. We appreciate it. Yes, Carmel, I see your message. Yes, it's the questions box in the control panel. That's how you can send messages through our chat here. Give it just another minute before we get started. We're really excited to be sharing our new user interface with you today. Just want to make sure everyone has a chance to join. Pottstown, PA, you're really close to me. I'm located outside of Philadelphia myself. A lot of the EZFacility team is located in New York. All right, thanks for waiting, everyone. Just wanted to give everyone a chance to log on so that they don't miss any of the information that we're going to share today. I think we'll go ahead and get started now. It's a couple minutes after 11 Eastern time. All right, so I'm really excited to officially welcome all of you to today's webinar. Today we'll be introducing EZFacility's new user interface, and we are so excited to be giving you this sneak preview because starting tomorrow, October 13th, you'll be able to get access to the new UI through your own account. So we'll be sure to take you through all the important changes as well as how to get access starting tomorrow. All right, now I'll take you through the agenda for today. So today we'll be covering a little bit of background on why we decided to develop a new user interface in the first place. We'll tell you about our design process and how we used your feedback to make these changes, including some of the upgrades that we've made under the hood to make the software faster and more reliable. And then we'll show you a full tour of the new UI, including new features and workflows. We'll explain how you can get access by opting in tomorrow. And we'll give you a preview of some additional enhancements that will be coming soon to the new UI. So once you're in there, some of the things that you can look forward to. And at the end of the webinar, we'll have a live Q&A. So please feel free to submit your questions at any time during the presentation, and we'll answer as many of those as possible. Please note that we will be focusing on questions related to the new UI. So if there are other technical support needs that you have, feel free to get in touch with our support team and they'll be happy to help you. There also will be a recording of today's webinar, which we'll email you within 24 hours. And in addition to that, if there's anyone who couldn't make today's session, we will be holding another webinar next Tuesday, October 19th. So if any of your staff would like to join that, or you would like a more in-depth training session related to the new UI, you can find the registration for that event at ezfacility.com/events. So on today's call, we have two experts who have been instrumental in the development of the new user interface. We have Mike Vidal, who's our Director of R&D, and he'll be talking to you about the design process and how we used your feedback. And then Greg Barra is our Support and Training Manager, and he'll be taking you through a tour of the new UI and showing you how to access it in your own account starting tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. My name is Miranda. I'm the marketing manager here at EZ, and I'll be your moderator today. So I'll be available in the chat throughout the presentation and then assisting with Q&A at the end. So before I hand it over to Mike to tell you about the design process, we just wanted to share a little bit about our development philosophy here at EZ, and specifically why we decided to work on developing a new UI for you. So for about 18 years now, EZ has been working with businesses like yours to provide software solutions for scheduling, membership management, billing, and more. And throughout that entire time, we've been learning about the processes and tools that you need to succeed. So most recently, on the next slide, over the past couple of years, one of the most requested updates that we've heard from all of you was to refresh the look and feel of the software. Many of you wanted a more streamlined experience that could help you complete daily tasks in fewer clicks. So this new user interface is a direct result of your feedback, not only in the past couple of years, but over the last 18 years that we've been collaborating with you and learning about your needs. So this new user interface is for you, and we've been building it so that we can spend the next 18 years continuing to serve you and meet your needs. So we just want to say how thankful we are to have collaborated with you and for all of your input, and we're so excited to share what we've built with you. With that, I will turn it over to Mike to tell you about the design process.
Thanks, Miranda. We wanted to take a few minutes to talk about our design process and how we got here. So in the next slide, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the design process in a bit more detail. So our development process and design process is an iterative as well as an incremental approach to deliver new designs to our users and collect feedback as early as possible and as often as possible. An iterative process allows us to identify problems and respond to them very quickly. So the first step in the process is very important, which is to empathize. Here we need to figure out exactly what our users want and the problems that we're trying to solve. Next, we need to define that problem. We do this by analyzing the data from the first step. And once we have defined that problem, we can start brainstorming ideas in the next step, the ideation process. This is where we explore all of the possible solutions, good and bad, before narrowing down what ideas to move forward with. At this point, we've established a clear understanding of user expectations and have generated promising ideas to move forward with. Now we can move into the design step, which is also known as the prototype step. This step is when ideas become actionable. Here we create sketches, wireframes, prototypes, and during this step, we gather input and critiques from others, from our customers, our users, internal team members. It just continues to go on and on from there, and input is extremely critical during this step as well. And then in the final step is to test. Our users will interact with the design to complete various tasks and provide their feedback. And though this is the final step of the process, it is important to note that this is not where it ends. As I mentioned in the beginning, the process is iterative. So the results generated from testing can often cause some redefinition of the problems we're trying to solve for our users. So we iterate and repeat until we have the best solution. Again, there are many steps in the design process, but it starts and ends with you. It's important that we understand what our users want, so we rely on your feedback to help us get there. So in the next slide, I want to talk about some of the benefits that this process has resulted in. So we went through many iterations of different designs, and again, as a result of this process and the feedback received by our users, we've updated the software to provide a more intuitive and streamlined design that will help you complete daily tasks in fewer clicks. We kept the interface simple and with purposeful page layouts to draw attention to the most important aspects of the page. We made it easier to learn by creating consistency and using common components, such as a side panel, for example, which Greg is going to show us here shortly, and some of the other consistency throughout the software. And adding consistency like this allows you to understand patterns and learn how our software works more quickly and more efficiently. You can spend less time teaching new staff and more time growing your business. Our design is now more responsive than ever. Pages render well on a variety of devices and window or screen sizes. For example, you can use a tablet on the go to sell a membership or check in a member while being away from the front desk. Lastly, we're using new and more modern technology. And these are changes you don't see in the design, but have a great impact. For example, an infrastructure that gives high availability or uptime. We can dynamically scale the operation, so as your business grows, our software grows and won't compromise quality. Screens load much faster. Switching between pages is faster. We can also deliver features faster with less disruption to our users when deploying updates, and many, many more benefits. In conclusion, we introduced a cleaner, simple interface with a better user experience using new technology on top of refined architecture and structure. So how many of you are ready to see what we've highlighted today? As Miranda mentioned, Greg is going to take us on a quick tour of the new user interface. So Greg, take it away.
All right, Mike, thanks for that introduction. And I know we're super excited to show you guys the new UI. So just give me a moment here to bring it up. So 1 second. All right. So you should all be able to see the new user interface, the new design. So as excited and as pumped as we are that we were able to develop a great new user interface, I think we're even more excited to see how you guys are going to use it and how it's going to make your time with EZFacility even better than it already is. So I also want to just again reiterate that tomorrow morning we're going to be doing a production release that will allow the administrators to opt into the new UI. So again, tomorrow morning you'll log into EZFacility just as you'd expect, and at that time you'll see a pop-up. You will be able to choose to opt in to the new UI, and it's going to bring you to a page similar to this, your schedule page here. Just please note that when you do opt into the new UI, initially you're going to be opting in all of your admins to the new user interface. That doesn't necessarily mean that every user needs to use the new user interface. They can go back to the classic version of EZFacility, but at the outset, they will see that. So you'll be able to move back and forth should you want to, but we hope that you stay in this new UI and see what we came up with here. So now that we're going right into it, as was mentioned by Mike and Miranda, we really hoped that this UI would make everything just an easier process, easier to understand, easier to learn, with a more intuitive workflow for completing tasks that would require fewer clicks, and the workflow would be more consistent across each page. Whether you're creating a membership or creating a package plan, or adding something onto your schedule, creating a group, the workflow should all be relatively the same, so it's easier to understand. And I'm going to try to demonstrate that here in the next few minutes. So the first thing that I want to definitely point out again is we have the questions box. Feel free to shoot some questions over. We'll most likely get to those towards the end of the call, but definitely when they come up, mark those questions there. So the first thing that I want to make sure that you're aware of is this side panel here. So the side panel is going to be just like that top navigation bar that you currently see in EZFacility. So we've just moved it to the side here, and I think you'll see that it is a cleaner look and feel. The biggest thing that I want to point out on this side panel is going to be the administration option. So right now, when you go into the classic EZFacility, when you click on administration, it brings you to a page with a whole bunch of options that you can select, and every section is shown immediately. Now, for those who are just learning EZFacility, haven't been in EZFacility very often, that can be a little bit overwhelming. So we wanted to kind of make it a little bit easier to digest. So now when we click on administration here, you'll see that it is a much cleaner look. You'll be able to see the different sections that you can have access to. You'll still be able to see the same options and tools that you would expect. It's just in a more condensed section, and really you can pick and choose where you want to go here. So from this section, what I really want to point out is memberships. So when we click on memberships, you'll see that it drops down and gives you more options, and that's going to be the same regardless of what you select here. But what I want to do is click on plans, and you'll see here that this takes you to the membership plans page. So the membership plans page, you can see, looks different than what you'd expect in the classic EZFacility user interface. The grid takes up the entire space. It's easier to read. You're looking at your saved plans right off the bat. So some of the cool things that you'll see on this grid, we are going to implement into all grids within EZFacility, so that, again, you have that consistent feel, you know what you're looking at and what it should do. So the first thing that you have in this section here, again, is your ability to filter saved plans. And what you'll be able to do is really pick whatever you want to filter by. So if I choose the number 12 here, you'll see that it filters by the description, and it also filters by the end date. So this is really going to filter the entire grid based on what you're looking for. So if I type in plan, it's only going to show me those with the description of plan. And I can also search for a specific membership fee should I want to. So if I'm looking for, I know I have a $500 membership, which one is it? I can type in that number 500 and it's going to show me that specific membership plan. So there's no more searching in that regard. What you'll also see here is that we have the column headers, which are going to be sortable. So you'll be able to click on these column headers. Let me just move this bar here. 1 second, sorry about that. So when we go into the column headers, you'll see that we're able to move those fees from high to low or low to high. So we have that option here. And we can really toggle or sort by any of these options. We can then use this icon here in order to bring it back to our original order. You'll also see on the left-hand side that we have the ability to drag and drop these plans. So if I want to see this in a specific order, I can drag and drop those plans and they will be set in that order. So from here, I want to bring your attention to the upper right-hand corner where we have two options, one to create the membership plan and then the other to sell it. So 1 second here. When I click on create membership plan, this brings out this side panel that you should now be able to see when completing pretty much every task in the new UI. And that is our goal, again, to make this a more consistent workflow where you're seeing the same sort of side panel on anytime you're completing a task. So what you'll also see and what we've tried to implement in each of these tasks is going to be the tab structure. So you see that we have the side panel and now we have the tabs. That's going to bring you through creating a membership plan in a more appropriate way where all the plan details are grouped together, all the billing details are grouped together, so on and so forth. Moving down to the membership types, this is again another feature that we've added where we're just trying to make this the easiest solution and the solution with the least amount of clicks. So if you remember in TMS right now, if you are trying to create a membership plan and you want a new membership type for that plan and you get to this similar page, you can't complete the membership plan completely. You would have to go back to the membership types, add the membership type, come back to this page, and then recreate the membership plan. And in this sense, when I click on create new, I can create the membership plan straight from here. So if I click on soccer plan, for example, I'd be able to do that. And then we'd be able to set up a revenue category if we wanted to. So you'll see here that it automatically sets up that membership plan, and then we'd be able to go down here through the membership plan creation process, just as you'd expect. So I am just going to add this is a soccer membership as my description. Maybe not the best description, but we have that here, and then we're just going to set the auto renew just so we can move on to our next page. So you can see that we have this little next button on the bottom here. So when we click on next, this brings us to the billing tab. All the billing information is right here, very easy to understand from top to bottom. And then we have the option to save and close this if we know that this is the only information that we need, or we can click save and next, and that's going to bring us right to the next tab, which is going to be our pro rate. And then if we go to save and next, we have the add-ons, and then finally we have the summary. So here in the summary, we'll be able to see all the additional information that is part of this plan. So all of that information right here, very easy for you to see. Again, in the spirit of trying to save you time and try to create a more functional workflow, at the bottom, what you're going to see here are a couple of options. So if you know that you're working on creating your membership and you have a few to create, you'll be able to select either save and add new, which is going to save this plan and create you a new one, or you can click on copy and save and add new. And what that's going to do is it's going to copy all the details from this plan, and it'll allow you to just make whatever changes you need to moving forward. So again, a much easier process for when you need to create multiple plans. So we'll go ahead and click on save and close here, which will collapse that side panel. Then we have the sell membership option here. So again, side panel. And the idea behind this is maybe you don't want to necessarily go into the client's profile right this second to sell them a plan, or in some cases, maybe you're sitting in the office with a new client and you just want to sell them a membership really quickly because they want to join a class or they just want to hit the weight room. So what you'd be able to do at that point is you'd be able to click on add new client. You can create a client straight through this page as well, and that will save them to your account, and then you'd be able to sell them a membership. So again, trying to save you as much time as possible here with that. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel that and close that. So that's the membership plans that we have. And from here, I would like to go to packages and then go to plans. So when we get the package plans, again, in the upper right-hand corner here, you're going to see create package plan and sell package. When I click on create package plan, let me just select individual here. Again, we have a similar structure where we're selecting the tabs and we have the next option and so on. So we are really trying to make it a consistent workflow within each of these sections. And we're really just scratching the surface of making all the changes that we want to make, which Mike's going to talk about here in just a few minutes. But the next and last place I want to bring you guys today is going to be on the clients page. So when we go to clients, again, we have the grid here that's going to allow you to see the client's information in a much cleaner way, where we can see their information right on this grid. Again, it has similar sorting features and such, and we have the ability to add a new client as well. But I'm going to go over here and go to Jack Smith. And when I go to Jack Smith, I think the best thing to take away about this, besides it looks great, is that all of the things that you would want to do in a client profile are really going to be at the top of the page here, and where you can do a quick action to sell them a membership because you know that they're a non-member, or make a payment because they have $200 due. All of that information you won't have to search for. It's going to be right at the top of the page, which I think is a great feature that we've implemented. As we look down through the profile, you're going to see the different sections here that we can collapse if we would like to. And not only that, but profile information right now is at the top. Maybe you don't want profile information at the top. You want contact information at the top. You'd be able to simply drag and drop this information, and that's going to resort the client profile for you. One more thing I want to show you in this page here. So just give me a brief moment here. 1 second. I apologize. Having some technical difficulties with the GoToWebinar pane here. I apologize. We'll be able to go to activity. And then again, if we click on log activity, you see once again, it is a side panel which will allow you to create that activity log. And again, just stressing that we are using that side panel, and all of that workflow really should be consistent across the board here. So before I wrap up here, again, just want to let you know that tomorrow is when you're going to be able to have access to opt in. Once you opt in, all of your admins will be opted in initially, but from there you'll be able to switch back and forth should you want to. Hopefully you'll stay in the new UI. And also please keep in mind that as Miranda mentioned, we do have a webinar next Tuesday. So if you have specific questions about the user interface, please join that webinar, and we'll have a member of our training team take you through whatever questions that you have after you've poked around that new UI for a little bit there. So I'm going to pass it back to Mike Vidal, who's going to let us know what we should be looking for next from the development team.
Awesome. Thanks, Greg, for that awesome tour of the new UI. We hope everyone is excited as we are. I'm truly pumped to be able to share this information. I'm excited that Greg took the opportunity to show that to everyone here today. So I do want to take a moment to talk about a few major updates that we have in the works. Just really quickly on the screen here, as Greg mentioned, the pop-ups, this is what you would expect to see when you log into EZFacility starting tomorrow morning. This will give you that ability to opt in if you decide to use it now, which we would encourage and hope that everyone does. We can switch to the next slide. So again, I just want to talk about a few things that are upcoming here. First, starting with groups. So groups will be getting additional updates to the design. As Greg mentioned, we're just scratching the surface with a lot of the UI improvements, and you will continue to see improvements to the UI for various pages throughout the new user interface, and that will continuously get updated. Additionally, we've made some functionality changes to groups, and we do expect to roll those changes out this quarter. So be on the lookout for those. We're super excited to launch the new groups platform and the design changes for that. Next, we are making updates to the POS inventory feature. This will include some new features and improvements for such as being able to manage variants for products. So you can have one product with multiple variants to manage size and color of a t-shirt, for example. So again, that's a major update to the inventory system, as well as a new structure and foundation, so that itself loads faster and works more reliable than it has ever before. And lastly, the schedule. We'll be getting a major overhaul to design and the user experience. And that's going to follow the same design process that I spoke about earlier. So it's going to go through that same iterative approach and incremental release schedule, starting with those wireframes and prototypes and meeting with customers and doing interviews and understanding what solutions can we provide to help with those problems. And again, make the best schedule that we can possibly make. And there will be many, many more improvements over the next year, so please stay tuned. Again, just as Greg mentioned, we're just really scratching the surface with this, so feedback is extremely important to us. We build software based on our users' needs, and so that feedback is what helps us continue to grow and helps us continue to provide the product that ultimately meets your needs. So we're super excited about it. I think this is going to bring us to the end of our presentation today. So just to summarize quickly, the EZFacility product will be updated with a new, intuitive, and streamlined interface that will provide a better user experience. And we'll begin providing that access to all of you starting tomorrow, as we've mentioned. Again, you'll see this pop up when you log into the software tomorrow morning. We encourage everyone to opt in and begin using that. So thank you for your time today. It was an absolute pleasure to be able to share all the hard work our teams at EZFacility have put into this project. We look forward to you using the new EZFacility experience and hearing your feedback. And I think we'll go through some questions now and try to answer as many as we can.
Thanks, Mike and Greg. That was an awesome tour, and we do have several questions, so we'll start going through those in just a minute. I just want to state a couple of reminders first, and also if you haven't entered your questions yet, please go ahead and do that now. We'll start that in just a second. Just want to let everyone know that the new UI, you will be able to opt into that starting tomorrow, October 13th at 9 a.m. Eastern, which is 2 p.m. British time. You will receive an email at that time, and you will also see the pop-up in your software upon login, and that's the pop-up that you see here on the screen. So clicking Try It Now will take you immediately to that new UI along with all of your admin, and there is a button in the drop-down next to your name where you'll be able to switch back to Classic if you so choose, or back and forth between the two as you see fit. All right, so we do have several questions, as I mentioned, so we'll go ahead and get started with those. One of the questions we received is about mobile responsiveness and optimization. So Mike or Greg, can one of you speak to that?
Yeah, I think I can take that question. So as I've mentioned before, it is more responsive than it has ever been before, and we will continue making improvements specifically on the mobile side of things. So we do encourage and still recommend users to use it on desktop. However, it will render well on tablets. We do, as I mentioned, are still in the process of making more improvements to mobile devices such as phones, but it is, as I've stated, much more responsive than the EZFacility platform that you're used to using today. Things do render and load much better on mobile devices.
Excellent, thank you. Another question we received is, will we eventually permanently switch to the new user interface, or will there always be the option to switch between that and Classic?
That's a good question. So at the moment, our goal is to have everyone use and switch over to the new user interface, and we believe and we're very confident that our users will make that switch. In the near term, you'll absolutely have the ability to continue switching back and forth between the two systems, it's something that our goal is to make this platform the future of EZFacility. More to come on that. We'll absolutely be communicating anything in regards to a permanent switch or not, but our goal is to encourage as many of our users to make that switch, as we're confident that this will provide a better experience.
Excellent, thanks. Another question that we had, will there be additional new features for managing multiple family members?
So I guess I'll kind of answer that question more as a whole in terms of new features. I think maybe that might be a better approach. So a majority of the functionality at the moment will remain the same. You may notice some additional new features that we've added throughout, such as Greg highlighting the ability to create a membership type during the process of creating a membership plan. So again, there will be a few new features that have been added throughout the new UI. However, majority of that functionality is the same. Our goal was to introduce a new user interface, but more importantly, introduce a better experience, right? How can we reduce clicks? How can we help our users complete tasks in less time? And that's the initial goal of what we're providing today. And so again, as I've mentioned before, your feedback is extremely important to us. So those new features that you're looking for, we still want to hear. I don't know if we called it out, but just as a reminder, in the new UI, on the bottom right of the footer, there is that give feedback link there. So again, you can submit that feedback directly there at any time that comes up.
And Mike, if I could just build off of that,
Sure.
I think that the new UI and the new workflow is our foundation for allowing us to create some of those new features down the road. So Mike was saying that we are able to release quicker. So with the updates that we're making, although the features may not be updated right now, it will allow us to more easily create those features down the line. So again, I think this is a great building block for us, and it's exciting to see what is going to be happening in the future.
Excellent, thank you both. There's a question here that has to do with Mac compatibility, specifically with drag and drop functionality in the new UI, but could you maybe speak to Mac compatibility as a whole?
Yeah, sure. Mac compatibility, we've obviously done testing on Macs and Windows. That's the two primary devices that we typically test with. And to date, we haven't seen any new issues or any issues as far as drag and drop or just compatibility issues on Macs. I may even say it's been improved in the new interface regarding the platform itself and the software and the features and functionality. So no issues to date. If you are experiencing any issues, absolutely reach out to our support team. We'd be happy to help troubleshoot any issues that come up.
Excellent. Next question. This is specific to some functionality and specific screens in the new UI, so I don't know if it's something we'll want to look at, but I'll pose the question first and we'll go from there. So this person said they didn't happen to see the update button on the client profile page. Does this save automatically now? Also, where is the status button for making someone active or suspended for checking in? How do you switch someone's billing status? So some specific questions about the client profile page and where to find particular buttons and features.
Sure.
Greg, is
just give me 1 second here. Let me hop back into the account.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
1 second here. All right. So if we go back to the profile, you'll see that there is a little save button on the right. So you're saving individual sections. You're not saving the totality of the page. So you're saving for each section here that you have. And then there was a question about suspending, and I believe that's should be up here for suspending an account. 1 second here. Whoop. Let's bring us back to the support portal. But the suspend button should be over here. I may have to take a look at that a little bit further, but you should be able to do that within the new UI.
Correct. Suspend and delete.
Yeah. I'm not sure why it's not popping up there, but we can.
Sorry, Greg. It could be your user doesn't have delete client permission enabled.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there you go. And this user isn't a member, or so that may also be an issue. But it should be in this drop down caret here.
Okay. So a little bit of nuance to how our demo account is set up here, but if you have any specific questions like this, I think would be perfect for next week's session as well. So if you want to take a look at the new UI starting tomorrow and poke around a bit, and then once you've had the chance and maybe some more of these questions come up, then next Tuesday, the 19th, a great time for you and your staff to get all of these questions answered.
Miranda, where can they go to sign up for that?
Yes, EZFacility.com/events, and it's the open training session that is on October 19th. You'll be able to click through to a registration page from there. I'll make sure to share that in the chat before we log off here. I'll go ahead and do that now. So yes, you'll be able to find that in the chat. Okay, next question. Will self-service accounts be affected by these changes as well?
No impact to self-service accounts. As far as self-service and the connection to the software itself, there's been no impact and no changes. And that, I think, goes to just data in general. Making that switch to using the new UI will not impact any of your data. So that same information you have on your client profile will be visible in the new UI. The same package plans or membership plans you've set up will be in the new UI. So you don't have to start from scratch and set everything up again. So again, the answer directly to the question, no impact to self-service. Overall, no impact to data.
Okay, great. With these changes, will online registration pages from groups have a new look as well?
The groups feature, as I mentioned, will be getting an overhaul. The online registration form currently has the same design. We do plan to make some updates to registrations in the future as well, including to forms and how those are created, as well as the look and feel of those.
Awesome. We'll look forward to that. Can an individual at the company opt into the new UI, or does the whole company need to opt in? And I think you've answered this, but let's review again if there is any way to manage that access to the new UI.
Yeah, so initially when someone is opted in using the pop-up, all users will be opted in, but they'll be able to switch back. So that may have been something that I failed to show. So let me go ahead and do that now. So if you want to switch back, you'll be able to do so by clicking on your username in the upper right-hand corner here, and then you have this switch back to Classic. So that's going to take you back to the current user interface that you are used to now.
Yep. And if I'm not mistaken, once you do that, in going back to Classic, there is then also an option to go back to the new UI. So you can
absolutely
switch between them as well.
So I'll show you what that's going to look like here. So when you click on Switch to Classic, you'll see the TMS version of the UI, and then you'll see that we have switched to the new new EZFacility experience. Then you click on that, and it's going to send you back to the new UI.
Perfect. Thank you. Are there any changes to check-ins with the new UI?
To check in?
No,
yes.
Right, Mike? There wouldn't be any changes.
That's right. Correct.
Okay. There's a question here about scheduling and specifically the use of colors for different classes. Can you speak a little bit about the upcoming changes to scheduling and thoughts on that?
Sure, yeah. As a matter of fact, we actually have been having a lot of internal discussions around the schedule in terms of the color legend and how reservation types on the calendar are showing and what custom colors versus not having custom colors and icons. So we're definitely very much in the process of identifying improvements for that. So what I would say is I would encourage to submit your feedback in terms of, are custom colors helpful, and what's how and are they important, and what's your use case behind those, and just helping us get a better understanding of colors and how we best can utilize them in the new interface. So it is something that we do intend on making improvements to, but as I mentioned, a part of that design process, we're going through those evaluations now and expect to be meeting with clients and understanding their input in regards to how we want to make improvements to colors and just the schedule in general.
Great, thank you. This is a little bit of a follow-up on something you mentioned, Greg. So will we have the ability to customize fields on a client profile? For instance, not showing a t-shirt size or other fields that we don't use?
At the moment, that functionality is going to be the same, but again, it's feedback that we are aware of, and I think Mike can confirm what we're looking into all possibilities of making improvements on the profile page.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Just checking for any additional questions specifically related to UI. Have there been any enhancements to the financial reporting or reporting in general?
No specific updates to reporting aside from the interface itself, just a better organization of the reports and the ability to set your options and preferences before generating, but the data of the reports are still the same at the moment.
Okay. I think maybe our last question, if anyone else has questions that you haven't asked yet, last chance, please enter them now, and we'll be wrapping up soon. Okay, are we still able to merge contacts in the event that an individual has multiple ones?
Yes, merge duplicates. Yes, that functionality will still.
Yes, I believe so. Excellent. Okay. Just check for any new questions. Okay. Will there be an update on being able to issue packages to members in bulk?
Currently, there's no functionality to do that today. However, it is feedback that we are aware of and something that we will be looking at and considering for future updates.
Okay, great. And we just had a couple more come in. These will be our last two. Will we be able to customize the fields for online registration differently for different groups? So I believe this is upcoming enhancements.
Correct.
So will that be something, will they be able to create custom fields based on the different types of groups?
Sure, yeah, and as I mentioned, our goal is to do some registration enhancements. So we plan to make updates for the registration system as a whole. We've started a lot of the initial design process behind that in terms of, what type of features and improvements can we make to registrations as a whole. So more to come on that, but we've definitely started taking that feedback into consideration.
Excellent. Sarah, I see your note here that you'd like some follow-up on some feedback you've given. We'll make sure to follow up with you after this webinar to make sure you've been able to give us all the input that you have. Last question though, and this is a good one. Will there be a webinar for each release or updates, and will we be notified when those updates go live?
Yeah,
I can say.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Greg. Go ahead, Greg.
All right, yeah, no, we're definitely going to be working on creating user guides for each of the new modules and new features that do come out. Something such as groups, we will absolutely have a webinar to show you how that's going to work in the new UI once that's ready. Obviously, schedule as well. So yes, I think is the answer there.
Yeah, absolutely. And those things should be forthcoming soon and even faster with the new UI. So that's one of the exciting things that is coming your way, and another reason to hop on the new UI tomorrow and check things out. And again, we shared the link to next week's webinar as well, and that will be more of the open training session format. So once you've had a chance to take a look around and come up with some additional detailed questions, we'll have one of our trainers on live to take you through anything that you need to see in there. So just want to thank everyone again. If you did have questions that we weren't able to get to, we'll make sure to respond to those as soon as we can via email. And of course, if you need any other type of technical support or training, feel free to email our support team at support@EZFacility.com. And thank you all again, and have a great day.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone.